Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. You've read the title, you know what's happening. Yes, I'm holding my microphone because I want really good audio, and I also don't have a mic stand, and I'm not sitting at a table this time. This is what we have to do for good audio now. Why Steven Universe, you might ask? And the answer to that question is because I like Steven Universe. I don't really have a much better answer than that. For those of you who don't know what Steven Universe is, it is a TV show that airs on Cartoon Network. Some might say it is a kids show. It's a great show. That's all I'm gonna say. I love the show and I love the characters, so I want to crochet them. And this gave me a good opportunity to do sort of a mini series on my channel of things that I crochet because I want to do all of the crystal gems. And I'm not doing them all in one video because you know how long it takes me to make a single video. Can you imagine how long it would take for me to make a video if I had to do 4 characters? That would take me a very long time. So without further ado, let's get on into it. So I'm trying something new with filming today. Since I crochet with smaller hooks, I thought it would be cooler if you could actually see more of what I was doing. So I did a zoomed in shot. I hope you can actually see what I'm doing all right, because whenever I go back and look at time-lapse video, it seems like it's going a little too fast. So I would say I'm still sort of tweaking what I want out of videos, so bear with me. I also wanted to mention really quickly that my cat has been using my hands as a scratching post and a chew toy, and so that's why there are scratches and marks all over my hands. I promise you I didn't get in a fist fight with a rose bush. I live with an adorable little demon cat. He's sort of big enough now that he can jump onto counters too, so it's been a lot to deal with. I was actually looking up ways to keep cats off counters because I know that that's an issue that I've dealt with before with other cats, and I don't want to go down that path with this one. So I was looking up videos of things that I could do to keep him off the counters, and one of them said to put tin foil on the counters. And I had never heard of that, but I have tinfoil, so you better believe I tried it. Can I say that it works? I cannot tell you definitively because I have not yet put a time-lapse camera right in front of my kitchen counters to see if he actually gets on them in the middle of the night, but I can tell you he stopped doing it right in front of me, so that's a little victory, I guess. He has knocked the tinfoil onto the floor, I think twice, but he never stays on the counter after he does that, so I would say it's a pretty okay deterrent. Anyway, I kind of wanted to do a little story time, so let's get into the story. In my last video when I was painting, I mentioned that when I went to college, my aim was to make it into the animation program, and I want to give you some more perspective on that. People that are looking to apply to it know it's very difficult to get into. And I remember this statistic in my head that some of the teachers would pull out, like if there was 100 people that were going to apply, they would maybe take 10 to 20 people. I actually heard a rumor one year that they only took 3 people because they only considered them to be the quality that they wanted in a student. And I honestly can't tell you if that's true. But if that is, that's kind of messed up because I actually looked up in a couple different places what they say their acceptance rate to the major is. One being the actual major webpage and the other one being the registrar page, which tells you the acceptance rate to every major on campus. And on the major page, it said that for every 60 to 75 that apply, they would take about 20 students, but on the registrar page it says something closer to what I'm saying, that the percentage is closer to 20%. When I was looking into it and applying for it, I knew that the stakes were high, but I still wanted to submit my application at the end of my very first semester because I'd already spent over a year at a community college building up GEs. So I felt a little behind compared to the rest of the students who had been already accepted to the university right out of high school. I mean, I know people can't always get into the major the year that they get into college, But I always felt I was behind because I didn't have a major the second I walked onto campus, which is kind of ridiculous actually now that I think of it, because I went without a major for I think 3 years, and I only got into my major and was in my major for a year. So I had to take all the prerequisites during that first term because I wanted to apply at the end of it. And one of those classes was called 2D animation. And to be honest with you guys, it was my probably favorite animation class that I ever took. And that might have something to do with the people that took the class with me. Up to that point, I only ever tried animating a few other times. Once for a public speaking class where I did a presentation on 2D skeletal animation, and a few sad attempts on flipbook with my DS. In class though, the way that we learned to animate was way more old school than I thought it would be. There were light boxes lining the whole room, and we had to buy at least one ream of paper to use over the course of the semester. There was also a special hole puncher that we had to use on the paper so that it would fit on those light boxes, and there was only one in the entire classroom. We ended up drawing everything for that class on paper and had to take a picture of each page to make a digital file for presentations. So many times I had to redo pages after seeing them actually animated instead of static because it looks so different. You can't I don't know if I have the best foresight in the world to know what something's gonna look like once it's completely animated as opposed to all of the static images. And you try to flip them on the light box, but it doesn't really work. I've actually spent a lot of time in that building even after those classes, and since I took that class I've walked by and noticed that they have replaced all of those old light boxes with computer screens and digital tablets. I'm actually kind of upset about it because they had me practice on hard mode when all these people now have the easy life. It would have saved me so much time to see what I had done right after I drew it, rather than going through the drawing process, then scanning, then watching it, and if I had to redo anything, I had to count the pages to get to the right frame and redo that specific frame. I can only actually remember 2 animated projects for that entire term, and I was pretty happy with how both of them turned out. I did really like that class, and although I would not like to work with those light boxes ever again, I do want to work a little bit more with animation. I've been thinking about doing animated stories for a long time. I actually have audio recorded of me and my sister talking about a story that has been on the back burner for a couple of years, and I would like to bring it back and drop a story for you guys because I think that'd be fun. I know animating on YouTube is probably one of the hardest avenues you could go down, but you know, why not? I have a sad little Wacom tablet. It might be able to do the trick. So one of these days you might actually see an animated video on my channel, but if you do, it will have probably taken me at least 2 days. So this project took way longer than I thought it was going to. I remember joking in my last video that every project I did took about 2 days. This took 3 days. So here's Steven. I think he turned out great. I'm not the happiest I've ever been with a completed project, but I am still pretty happy. The reason why I crocheted his shirt away from his body was so that I could put a gem on his belly button, like in the show, but I don't currently have gems, so that might be a thing that I have to do later on in this series. As always, I hope you guys had fun watching me, and if you have any suggestions for further projects or mini-series, let me know in the comments below. And also in the comments below if you want to let me know which one of the crystal gems is your favorite crystal gem. I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye!